The face of agriculture has changed. Once a male-dominated field, the industry is now equally composed of men and women working to feed the world in various roles. In a survey conducted by agcareers.com, 80% of both genders responded that the attitude towards women in the agricultural workplace had changed for the better in the past decade. Women in agriculture are tremendous contributors to American society, especially within rural communities because of their roles on and off the farm. Their involvement on the farm is expanding to include more decision-making, and hands-on participation in these roles have opened up many doors for women to become farmers. In the mid-1980s, educators began to notice the changing role of American women in agriculture, and conferences targeting these women emerged in a handful of states. Today, programs for women in agriculture are developing across the U.S. These programs represent a first step, but thus far, in most states, have not effectively identified and addressed the needs of agricultural women and their changing and challenging roles. Not only is the farm woman's role increasing on farms, but many farm women are also venturing off the farm to provide additional income for the household, to give leadership to and participate in organizations that support regional agriculture and rural communities. Today, in a lifestyle where time is imminent, these women continue to give themselves in numerous ways to agricultural, community, and rural development. The number of agriculture degrees earned by women has more than tripled since 1993. In 2002, the Census of Agriculture showed a 40% increase in the number of women operators in the last decade. Women now make up 27.2% of all farm operators, with 25% of these being principal operators, making 11.2% of all American farms owned and operated solely by women. A survey taken at the Arkansas Women of Agriculture Conference concluded that women who are sole operators face more challenges than other women in agriculture. Female operators face greater challenges in their workplace because of the difficulty finding dependable employees, finding and affording legal advice, keeping financial records, and being respected as a female business owner. The challenges facing these women are similar to other industries. The wage gap in the agriculture industry is evident as responses to the Gender Roles and Equality in Agribusiness survey indicate a disparity between pay of men and women, with men earning significantly more than women in agribusiness. The survey also reported that men are more likely to receive a raise or be promoted within the industry. I conducted the following interviews to introduce 5 women in North Carolina to discuss what it is like to be a woman in agriculture.
I'm Amy Robinette, and I am the owner of Micro Summit Processors, which is a meat processing facility that specializes in cattle, lambs, and goats.
My name is Michelle Pace Davis. I am a 6th generation farmer here in the northern part of Johnston County in the small town of Archer Lodge, doing strawberries with diversified agriculture, and then I'm also an agriculture teacher at Corinth Waters High School in my 3rd year of teaching.
My name is Abby Whitaker. I'm a master's student in Ag and Extension Education. I'm from Mooresboro, North Carolina, which is about 4 hours west of Raleigh, and I grew up on a beef cattle operation, hobby farm, when we grow and cut hay for our cows.
My name's Kara Ruth Pace. I'm from Archer Lodge, which is in Johnston County, North Carolina. I'm from a tobacco and small grains family operation. We are currently being certified as a Century Farm family. And currently I'm a graduate student at North Carolina State University studying crop science with a specialization in tobacco fertility.
Deborah Pace. I live in a community called Archer Lodge, North Carolina in Johnston County. And I'm married to Jerry Pace, who is a tobacco farmer, and we also grow wheat and beans, and we've put in a U-Pick strawberry patch this year.
There is no average day when you own a meat processing plant, especially when you deal with customers. The morning normally starts with accepting the livestock, and you hope that all goes well, but if an animal doesn't step off the trailer or something doesn't go just right, then obviously the USDA is there to step in. They inspect the animals before they're stunned. Then they go into the chutes and they're put down, and then they go through the system of that on kill days. on processing days, non-killing days for the livestock, then that mainly consists of record keeping.
So there's no such thing as a normal day on our operation. It usually consists of myself, I'm 22, my dad, who is 54, and my grandfather, who is 78. And so the three of us work together a lot, whether that be moving cows, feeding cows, cutting hay, hauling hay. It's usually the three of us and whoever comes to help that day. And so it's a unique challenge because we're family, and I'm also the youngest and a female. And so my role changes from day to day. I drive a lot. Any kind of legwork that has to be done, it's usually me because I'm the youngest. So when we're hauling hay, that means I'm the one following the trailer, throwing the bales on the trailer, because unfortunately we still bale with square bales.
An average day on the farm for me is never the same. We say that each day we have an event, and that event may be a broken down tractor or a primer or crazy things that go on, and I never know what I may be doing that day. So I really can't say that I have an average day. Like so many farmers' wives, I also have another hat. I'm a substitute teacher, I'm a mother, and I'm a farmer's wife. So for me to say that I have an average day, I can't say I do. It also varies from season to season. If it's tobacco season, an average day many times is just getting up early. I have my gardening and all. I still can and freeze our food. I usually pick that early and then do whatever my husband needs me to do. It may be run part runs, truck tobacco. I really can't say that I have an average day, which honestly that makes my life an adventure, and what makes it fun is every day's different, every day's a challenge. It's get up and let's get the job done.
To be a woman in agriculture today is fun, but it's also challenging. Women today are in the minority, but also I think we're striving to be part of the majority. Women in agriculture have always been there, but I don't feel like they've been in the spotlight, so to speak. If you think about from the Civil War and all the wars, the men left to fight for our country, but the women stayed to look after the farm. So the women have been a backbone of the farm, but I feel like today the society is actually starting to take a stand and realize that, hey, the woman is there, that she does have a job. She's not just sitting there looking pretty. She is doing the book. She's helping manage the farm labor.
Being a woman in agriculture means being a part of a community that comes together to feed the world. We're a minority in the agriculture industry, but we're making a name for ourselves. We're working together, we're coming together to be a part of a greater good. And I think that's really important to realize that the work that we do every single day is going to put food on other people's table and help educate the world about what we do in the agriculture industry.
As a woman in agriculture, I just feel like, that's the greatest gift that I've been given, because not only do I get to nurture my own children and nurture my own community, but I also get to nurture our food and the sustainability of not only my community but our world through the food production that we create.
I think to be a woman in agriculture means that you have to work twice as hard as everyone else. Typically, whenever you're a woman in agriculture, people begin to assume that you've been hired because you're a pretty face or you can talk good. And so I think you have to work twice as hard just to prove to yourself that you weren't hired for the job because of your looks, but you're actually hired for the job because of your ability and your brains. And I think that proving yourself and working that extra bit really means and says a lot to women in agriculture. We're definitely the minority, especially in the tobacco industry.
So I graduated from my undergrad program this past May, and one of the barriers that I face as being a woman in agriculture is facing the judgments in production agriculture of being a woman. And so when I'm interviewing for jobs, often don't get a call back, or facing judgments on the first day of an internship is like, oh, well, we got a girl. And constantly having to prove myself, prove that I'm able to work hard and do just as good as any male intern. And it's made me stronger and made me have to work harder and realize that I have to prove myself every day. But it is definitely a barrier that I'm constantly having to jump over.
So being a woman in a male-dominated field can be really tricky to work in. Like right now, I work in a team of 9, and I'm the only female in the group. So you see a lot of that, like the men aren't used to having a woman. So you really have to work on, how they're speaking to you and how they're acting around you, just to make sure that it's not offensive. I mean, whenever it's a group of guys, it's one thing, but whenever you're acting professional, it's something else. And I think you really have to walk a fine line between being one of the guys and being treated like one of the guys. I'm all for equality, but at the same time, I feel like they do need to respect you and not act or say things that you don't really want to hear. You want to be treated equally, but at the same time, just be respected as well. And I think, like previously in doing internships and stuff, working in the tobacco industry, you see a lot of, oh, you're that pretty little intern, and you really just have to prove yourself and say, actually I was hired because I have, knowledge about tobacco and I was born and raised in it, and actually know what I'm talking about, instead of, oh, I was just hired because of my face. In agriculture, it's a very small industry. Only 2% of our population is actively involved in farming. And so I think it's really important to find involvement with a committee or, a group of people who are like you. And so I think organizations like Farm Bureau are especially important when finding people. And, there's a women's committee within Farm Bureau, to find other people who are women in agriculture who are like you and kind of going through the same thing you are.
Good.
Being a woman in agriculture is fun, but it's challenging. It's fun to be able to say that as part of my job, as part of what I'm doing, is working with my family. I'm with my dad, I'm with my husband, I'm with my uncle, my cousin. It's a family farm. We are stepping up to the plate. I feel like as a woman in agriculture, we're stepping up to the plate to be able to feed the 9 billion people by 2020. We're able to do we're able to help feed the world, and it's awesome to be able to be a part of that.
A way that I find empowerment in the agriculture industry is through other women in agriculture. And so an example of that would be my 3 roommates who are also in grad school, also looking to be in production agriculture, who all come from production agriculture backgrounds or are looking to go into one. And so we're a team, we're a unit, we go through the same struggles together every single day, and we rely on each other's experiences, and we're all good at different things. So when we do grow up and actually work in the agriculture industry on our own, we know that we'll always have each other to call on.
We have women that are making a difference through the creation of biotechnologies and through marketing and through the educational outreaches and USDA roles. And so I'm excited to be an American Agri-Women member just because I get to see more women and the diversity of our industry.